thing is, when you're growing up in Pakistan, it's impossible to not be exposed to the Tablighi Jamaat. So that's where the mosque, my grandfather's mosque on my father's side, was Tablighi Jamaat mosque. And the Tablighi Jamaat would come, and I was quite inspired by Tablighi Jamaat, let's say, because yes, you're not making anybody Muslim, but you're reminding the Muslim Ummah about praying, because not many people pray 5 times. You go, you leave your house, do this struggle for Islam and learn about Islam whenever you go. So anyways, after I turned 15 or 16, every school holidays, midterm, summer holidays, winter holidays, I just started going with the Jamaats.
Can I just explain to everyone what that is?
Yeah, of course.
So Tabligh Jamaat is something I also had a little close encounter with once, but not really got into it too much because I was more on the Salafi side. So people that don't know, Tabligh Jamaat is a movement in from within Sunni Islam that was made by, I think his name is Muhammad Zakaria. He's a Sufi guy that wrote this book called Fadali Amal, which has all of these weak hadith, and some of them are even like.
Here's an example of one such hadith. A woman dies on seeing the Prophet's grave. A woman came to Aisha and said, "Take me to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so I may be blessed with its sight." Aisha opened the room that contained the grave of the Prophet and let her go inside. The woman, on seeing the grave, started crying in love and memory of the Prophet. In fact, she wept so bitterly and incessantly that she swooned and expired there and then. May Allah bless her. The blessed lady recollected the happy days when the Prophet was alive. That must have been before she died, I guess. I don't know.
Like really shady stuff. And he made this movement where men go and they live in the masjid, in the mosque, sometimes for 3 days, 7 days, 40 days. And while they're in the mosque, the wives are at home doing everything, and they don't get to see the husbands. The husbands are gone from their lives. They even go once in a lifetime. They're supposed to go for 4 months. So they've added all of these new rituals to Islam. And I, like I said, I was interested. I went once for 3 nights, and I was like, I didn't like it. I personally didn't like it. But anyway, so tell us some more about like that experience. So you said you all of your holidays you used to go for this thing?
Yes.
Sorry, one more thing. And then while you're at the mosque, they go from door to door trying to get people to come to the mosque.
Yes, that's called gasht. After every Asr prayer, you go, because after Maghrib prayer, the evening prayer, you do a small sermon every night. And then after Asr, you just leave the mosque, go door to door, knock on the people's door, and you have these learned sentences. You can't even change the sentences they tell you. It's set sentences. You have to say there's 3 sentences. You tell them, you are Muslim, I'm Muslim, and through the seal of the prophethood after Muhammad, there's not going to be any more prophets. And the duty of preaching Islam is on to us now, and we have to talk about it in the mosque after Maghrib prayer.
Okay.
Come, it'll be beneficial for both of us. So you bring people in, start doing that.
Yeah.
I have nothing but good memories of actually Tabligh Jamaat, because it kind of became like school friends or street friends just going away, living in a mosque. Quite fun. I did itikaf for the same reason. I did itikaf 5 years in a row.
I like itikaf. So the itikaf is basically, if people don't know, the last 10 nights of Ramadan, you hide away like a hermit in the mosque, and you're not supposed to even talk to anyone. I used to talk to people too, but you're supposed to talk to anyone. You're supposed to seclude yourself and worship, right? The Tabligh Jamaat, I think the reason I had a problem with it was because I had this fear of doing bid'ah, and I was like, I didn't like how rigid it was. I didn't like that you had to do this, and then you had to read hadith, and then you have to read Quran. And there's like a strict routine they put on you, and you have to ask the sheikh everything. Sheikh, can I go to the washroom, or can I do this? Or like, and then when we wanted to leave, you wouldn't let us leave.
No, the imam is in charge in those periods.
Hey, one more night. I was like, no, I'm done. I want to go home.
That's what happened with me as well. So I was still Salafi, even though I was going with Tabligh Jamaat. I was still Salafi, so I was adhering to Salafist teachings. And there'd come some hadiths in Fazail Amal, the one you mentioned, and it's littered with Zaif hadiths. There's one of these hadiths when Adam had committed the sin, and then Allah is angry, and Adam says, "Oh, I've seen Muhammad written somewhere. I ask you for the sake of Muhammad, forgive me."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't sit well with me, because all my life I'd been told you can't ask Allah for the sake of somebody else, because you have a direct connection with Allah. You don't need you need to bring a third party in if you don't have a direct connection with the person. So for us, for Salafis, it was bid'ah to bring a third party. Sorry?
And maybe even shirk.
Even shirk, yes.
Yeah.
So that is.
I remember that same sort of dilemma, because I remember debating with my Sufi Muslim friends that, like, I told them I used to be a Ismaili, and we used to pray to Aga Khan, who was alive. And, you know, this is weird, and I don't want to do this anymore, because I learned from the Quran, we only worship Allah. But apparently there's some hadith that people used to say in the name of Muhammad, or by intercession of your prophet, or something like that. So Sufis will actually make dua to Allah, vilayat, or through Muhammad, or something like that.
Muhammad, yeah.
And I never felt comfortable with that as a strict Wahhabi, Salafi, whatever. But apparently in Sunni Islam, there's and that's one of the things that they battle out over, right? They're like, "Oh, you're doing shirk," and they're like, "No, this is not shirk, this is Sunnah."
For Salafis, it is shirk. So for me, it didn't sit well. And there were a couple of more examples, because when Tablighi Jamaat goes somewhere, and when whatever they're offered, and if Amir says you have to eat it, you have to eat it. So I was away for 10 days, I think, and I was 4 hours away from my home city as well. And this offering comes in, and offering is for khatam. Khatam is something like Brailwi Muslims do for their peers and for their awliyas, for the sacred people. And it's not for Allah. For Salafis, khatam was haram, because it's something that's that's for somebody other than Allah. You can only eat the food that's been offered.
The offering, they're making like a sacrifice, like a qurbani or something?
It doesn't have to be sacrifice. It can be milk or rice pudding or any biryani, any sort of food they cook, and they say, this food is for my peer, which is a saint, let's say. They believe in Sufis do. And their food, the khatam food, came in the mosque, and Amir said, yes, it's an offering, we have to be nice and we have to eat it. And I'm sitting there looking at my Amir thinking, I can't eat that.
Yeah.
It's haram for me. Like, the first time I was slapped in my house by my uncle was because I was eating khatam food. It was a big taboo for me to eat khatam food. It was haram. Yeah. I thought, I'm not eating it, Amir. You're doing it wrong. And that was a big deal, disagreeing with your Amir. So, and Fazail Imam, and I disagree with. So essentially, I decided Tablighi Jamaat are way too concerned with their own elder people, like their own bazurgs and stuff, than they are with Muhammad or Quran. So I said, okay, Salafism is the best. This is Muhammad. This is Quran. You don't care about any of the imams or peers or saints, whoever comes after, because they're all fallible human beings. We have to follow the infallibility of Muhammad.
So one is saying this is a Jehovah's Witness type thing. Yeah, it is kind of like that.
Yeah, it's very much like that. That's the kind of light Muslim I was.
Oh yeah.